Part 3, verse 25. Quote, and his deceitful king strength and his heart shall be stirred up against the king of the south with a great force, and the king of the south shall engage in war with a great and very strong force. But his, king of the south, forces shall not stand, for they, honored gods, shall devise plans against him, and they, honored gods, shall eat his, south king, provisions, and shall crush him. And he, deceitful king, listen up, shall carry away armies with an S, as with a flood, and many shall fall down slain. Stop! So as you can plainly hear, this is not an above the ground king. I mean, can you name a puny human country with the power to, quote, carry away armies with an S as with a flood? I sure can't. I can see many prisoners being taken by the current coalition of the willing. Yes. But does the willing coalition have the juice to remove entire armies with an S? No. Besides, where would the puny humans take their captive foes? It's just a question. Let's continue, please. Verse 27. Now it switches to talk about the kings of the south and north for a second, and then switches back to this deceitful king. Listen closely to prove the deceitful king was not born above the ground. Quote, and as for both the kings, their hearts are set upon mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, peace agreement, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end is for a fixed time. There is no peace for the wicked. Verse 28, listen up. Quote, and he, deceitful king, shall return to his land above the ground base with much substance, and his heart shall be against the holy covenant, our redemption, and he shall perform great deeds and return to his own land. Stop, bingo. First he stopped at his above the ground base and then went back to his netherworldian world. I know this understanding is correct because of what the scripture says next. Verse 29, listen up. Quote, at the set time he shall return, comma, and shall come into the south. But the last expedition shall not be as the first. Stop, bingo, I told you. I told you what you ponder? Well, what did you perceive when the scriptures just said, quote, at the set time he shall return, comma, and shall come into the south? Who, me? I perceive it will be logistically impossible for him to return and come into the south if he was already on top of the earth to begin with. Where did he come from? Can you dig it? Let's continue for more proof. This guy is from the netherworld. Verse 30, quote, at the set time he shall return and shall come into the south, but the last expedition shall not be as the first. For the Scythians issuing forth shall come against him, and he shall be brought low, and shall return to the netherworld, and shall be incensed against the holy covenant, and he shall do thus, and shall return back above the ground, listen up, and have intelligence with them that have forsaken the holy covenant. Stop, bingo. So as you can plainly hear, the deceitful king is not only not from this world, but because he null and voided the evildoer's covenant / pact, he will have intel with the fallen angels on how to break my God's holy covenant / promises. Before we check out what they told him to do, allow me to ask you a question, gentle strangers. I can't hear if you said yes or not because this is a video, so I'm going to ask anyway. Remember our recent living machine discovery? You know, when we found out they have created at least 8 extra programmable DNA molecules? Come on now, you remember when they remarkably told us they have created a living machine that can feed and reproduce itself? Right. Well, Funny thing happened while reading the scriptures one day. Comes to find out, wait, who am I fooling? I'm colored. Let's just read it, shall we? Verse 31, quote, and he shall do thus, and shall return, and have intelligence with them that have forsaken the holy covenant. Listen up. And seeds, with an S, shall spring up out of him, comma, and they, the seed that sprung up out of him, shall profane the sanctuary of strength, our wilderness sanctuary, and they shall remove the perpetual, I think that's it, perpetual, sacrifice, and make the abomination desolate. And the transgressors, with an S, shall bring about a covenant by deceitful ways, but a people knowing their God shall prevail and do valiantly. Example. Wow! Did you hear that? Amazing! So as you can plainly hear, for the scriptures to say, quote, and seeds, with an S, shall spring up out of him, comma, and they shall profane the sanctuary of strength, that can only mean he will create more than one clone of himself, and they will come into our wilderness sanctuary to defile it. Remember, not only will many attach themselves to us through deceit when we leave America, but we also have the bloodline of the Kenites that will be hating on us while we're in the wilderness as well. Israel. I think my God is allowing us to get this, man. I'm going to come back up out of this so we can go look at some other stuff, and then we're going to come right back into it. All right? Israel, endure.